kesehatan dengan selalu menerapkan 3M, yaitu memakai masker, menjaga jarak, dan menjauhi kerumunan, serta mencuci tangan di air yang mengalir. Dan jangan lupa pemirsa, dukung vaksinasi pemerintah demi terjadinya kekebalan kelompok agar pandemi COVID-19 segera berakhir. Terima kasih atas kebersamaan Anda pemirsa, saya Mangivera Tjong, sampai jumpa.
Central Bank decided to maintain the benchmark interest steady at 3.5%. Bank Negara Indonesia plans to buy back up to 1.7 triliun rupiah. Good evening, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sectors. And as the pandemic still going on, we'll still provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions, such as physical distancing, wearing a face mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. With me, Wicky Adrian, this is Market Headlines. Central Bank decided to maintain the benchmark interest steady at 3.5% in July 2021. Likewise, the deposit facility remained unchanged at 2.75%, while lending facility rates is now at 4.25%. The Central Bank Governor Peri Warjio said this policy was taken after considering economic conditions, both globally and domestically. From a global perspective, it is assessed that the global economic recovery will continue. For example, the economic improvement in the United States and China. However, uncertainty is still going amid the spread of COVID-19, especially because of the Delta variant. From domestic perspective, Central Bank projects that the Indonesian economy will be lower. The economy in the third quarter of 2021 is expected to shrink from previous quarter. Ministry of Finance is about to reallocate ministry and institution budget by refocusing the budget up to 4 times. The fourth stage of refocusing will be done by first week of August.
Budget refocusing is a must when government needs more fund to conduct emergency COVID-19 restrictions level 4. Director General of Budget Ministry of Finance, Isa Rahmatawarta, said that refocusing is done to flow more funds to economic recovery budget without making any loan. The government needs more fund up to 55.21 trillion rupiah to cover the needs for economic recovery budget, which reach 744.75 trillion rupiah. The needs is growing larger as the pandemic becomes unstoppable. Previously, government only allocated around 699 trillion rupiah for economic recovery.
Pertama, tahap ketiga belanja KL sebanyak 26,2 triliun dan TKDD sekitar besarannya 6 triliun. Ini akan direfocusing untuk menyediakan pembiayaan untuk belanja-belanja PC Pen. Karena kemudian PC Pen tadi naik anggarannya sebanyak 55,21 triliun, maka kita perlu lagi menambah penyiapan untuk itu. Karena itu kita lakukan refocusing yang keempat, besarnya 26,3 triliun rupiah.
Right now, Finance Ministry is in the third stage of budget refocusing with a total budget of 32.2 trillion rupiah, consisting of 26.2 trillion ministerial spending and 6 trillion rupiah from regional transfers. While the fourth stage will be carried out until August, which is targeted 26.3 trillion rupiah as additional economic recovery budget. Jakarta, Rahaja Patmo, IDX Channel.
The government, through the Minister of Manpower, will relaunch wage subsidy to reduce the impact of layoffs and to increase people's purchasing power.
Minister of Manpower, Ida Fauzia, revealed that the government will relaunch wage subsidy in 2021. This assistance is expected to prevent layoffs as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. The amount of wage subsidy of 1 million rupiah will be given through banking transfer. Economic observer from Core Indonesia, Yusuf Randi, assessed that this policy was seen as maintaining people purchasing power of the lower middle class, especially to maintain consumption, so that it is expected to accelerate the process of a national economic recovery this year, especially in the fourth quarter.
Belajar dari pengalaman tahun lalu, bantuan jenis ini memang merupakan salah satu jenis bantuan yang dapat menjaga kelompok masyarakat pendapatan menengah ke bawah agar daya belinya bisa tetap terjaga di masa pemberlakuan PPKM darurat. Nah, tentu ini menjadi penting sehingga nantinya kelompok ini bisa tetap menjaga proporsionalitas dari konsumsi yang mereka lakukan gitu. Nah, ini juga ada kaitannya dengan upaya pemulihan ekonomi yang akan dilakukan pemerintah di tahun ini dan juga di kuartal keempat setelah PPKM ini selesai dilakukan oleh pemerintah.
Wage subsidy recipients are estimated to reach approximately 8 million people with a budget requirement of 8 trillion rupiah. From Jakarta, Adi Firmansyah, IDX Channel.
The Delta variant is conquering us COVID-19 pandemic as it responsible for 83.2% of novel coronavirus infections. On the other hand, the new normal situation that make people stay at home brings huge bucks for Netflix as the company posted $7.34 billion revenue in the second quarter. More stories on today's International Minute.
Cloud computing giant Salesforce has completed its acquisition of Slack, a $27.7 billion deal that adds messaging applications to suit their enterprise software, without immediately changing Slack's functionality, branding, or leadership. Now Slack is going from an upstart independent challenger to a consolidated competitor on even footing. Salesforce has revered to its employees as architects of remote-friendly approach, and with Slack in its pocket, it will try to dominate as other companies move in that direction. Shares of Netflix recovered from the initial dip and were up nearly 1% after the company reported earnings that missed the bottom line. The company's revenue slightly beat estimates, and it confirmed speculation that it will be expanded more into the gaming. Netflix collected revenue of $7.34 billion. And Netflix said that the revenue growth in the past quarter came from an 11% increase in the average paid streaming memberships and 8% growth in average revenue per membership. Indian food delivery group Zomato has launched its $1.25 billion initial public offering. Unlike most companies that hit the IPO market, Zomato is yet to make profits. But that did not matter as for investors, and they gave a huge thumb to the offer. After getting a strong response to its IPO from investors last week, the food delivery company Zomato is finalizing the IPO share allocation. The Delta variant of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 is now the majority variant of the virus circulating in France, as French Prime Minister Jean Castex said. As France braces for a fourth wave, 18,000 new cases were reported in a 24-hour period earlier this week. The level of infections is the highest since mid-May, when the country was emerging from a third nationwide lockdown. It is official that the Delta variant is now the king of COVID-19 in America, responsible for 83.2% of the novel coronavirus infections in the U.S. That's up from 51.7% from the 2 weeks ago, when a new estimate based on genomic surveillance data nationwide. According to the CDC, more than 93% of the new cases in their Plains and Upper Plains states are caused by Delta variant. In New York and much of the South, the share of cases linked to the Delta variant are above 80%. U.S. reported well over 200,000 new cases daily, but the rate of the new cases is climbing quickly. The state is currently reporting more new cases of the virus per day than they did 2 weeks ago. IDX Channel reported.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Setiap bulan, saya mensisihkan 100.000 dari gaji untuk nabung saham.
Cara nabung saham nggak ribet, saya aja bisa kok.
Jangan mengandalkan orang tua terus, makanya saya mulai nabung saham.
Yuk kita nabung saham sekarang.
Hai Sobat Investor, kalian ingin tetap bisa menabung meskipun keadaan keuangan kalian sedang sulit? Dengerin tips berikut ini ya. Kita masuk ke tips yang pertama ya. Nah, yang pertama, kalian harus memenuhi semua kebutuhan rutin kalian terlebih dahulu nih. Barulah setelah itu kalian bisa mengalokasikan pendapatan kalian untuk memenuhi kebutuhan pelengkap lainnya. Kita masuk ke tips yang kedua ya Sobat Investor. Jadi penting sekali bagi kalian untuk menutup hutang sesuai dengan kemampuan kalian. Selain itu, kalian juga perlu menentukan utang mana yang harus kalian dahulukan untuk dilunasi. Selain itu, penting juga untuk selalu menyesuaikan dengan uang tunai yang kalian miliki. Tips selanjutnya yaitu tips yang ketiga. Jadi kalian penting sekali untuk menekan biaya bulanan nih Sobat Investor. Jadi kalian juga memang harus memangkas kebutuhan yang memang sifatnya hanya pelengkap saja. Dan penting sekali bagi kalian untuk mempertahankan biaya bulanan yang sifatnya memang untuk kebutuhan utama kalian. Tips yang keempat terkait dengan pengelolaan aset. Jadi jika ternyata penghasilan yang kalian miliki ini tidak bisa menutup kebutuhan kalian, maka kalian bisa mempertimbangkan untuk menjual aset yang kalian miliki. Tips yang kelima, jangan lupa sisihkan sekitar 10% dari penghasilan kalian untuk ditabung di tiap bulannya. Dan saat keadaan keuangan kalian sedang sulit, tidak menjadi alasan untuk gagal mencapai impian. Jangan lupa ya, harus selalu rajin dan juga disiplin dalam menabung Sobat Investor.
Benarkah tren tren transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut? Seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, dan pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira Brent hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri, yang itu kira.
Welcome back. The Indonesian government continues to accelerate the development of electric vehicles with the target of becoming one of the main global players.
The Indonesian government continues to accelerate the development of electric vehicles with the target of becoming one of the main global players. A series of plans and developments are being carried out, including preparing a roadmap for electric vehicles and providing various incentives for the related car or motorcycle. Even as stated by the Minister of Industry Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita, the transportation equipment industry is a priority in the 2015-2035 National Industrial Development Master Plan. As for the roadmap, the production target for EVs in 2030 is set to reach 600,000 units for 4 wheels or more, and for 2 wheels it can reach up to 2.45 million units. It doesn't stop there. To accelerate the popularization of EV use, the government will set regulations on the roadmap for purchasing EVs in government agencies. Furthermore, the government also creates an EV ecosystem by involving stakeholders consisting of manufacturers, battery manufacturers, pilot projects, consumers, and infrastructure such as charging stations and pilot projects. IDX Channel reports.
Along with the development of electric vehicles, Indonesia doesn't want to be left behind. However, there are a number of things that need to be considered, including the price of electric batteries and the strategy of acceleration that must be used. And before going further, let's firstly look at the data of electric vehicle use in the world in the first graphic. This is worldwide use of electric vehicles in 2020. European Union, it is using or absorbing as much as 1,390 units of electric vehicles. Meantime, in China, it is absorbed as much as 1,330 units of electric vehicles. US 328, and South Korea 52 units, and Canada 47 units. Electric vehicles have been widely used in various countries with the aim of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and achieving a carbon neutral point in the future. The high penetration of electric vehicles in various countries is supported by various qualified policies. Meanwhile, the world's use of electric vehicles in 2020 was recorded at 8.5 million units. This number is projected to continue to increase to reach 116 million units in 2030. The use of electric vehicles surely cannot be separated from the price of EV themselves, which are still labeled quite expensive, mainly due to the high cost of electric battery components. But is the price of electric batteries from year to year has increased continuously? Let's directly see the data on the next graphic. This is lithium battery price. As you can see, trend-wise, from 2010 to 2020, it was keep on decreasing from $1,191 per kilowatt hour to only $138 per kilowatt hour. And based on data from the Indonesian Electric Vehicle Battery Project Development Acceleration Team, 35% of the cost of producing electric vehicles is affected by battery costs, so that with the decline in battery prices, the price of electric cars is also increasingly affordable. So it is projected that electric car sales will accelerate in the next few years. And however, there is another problem with the battery, namely that the mileage is still limited due to the limited capacity of the electric car battery. This is different when compared to oil-fueled cars, which have long mileage due to the support of the availability of fueling stations. So with the positive trend of electric vehicles, how about the sales projections in Indonesia? Let's check the data on the next graphic. This is electric car sales projections in Indonesia. The realization in 2020 it was on a level of 127 units. In 2025, it is projected to reach 16,000 units. Meantime, in 2030, it is projected to reach 65,000 units. The use of electric vehicles in Indonesia is still relatively small and has the potential to be increased. Indonesia still has to catch up and increase the penetration of electric vehicles. The reason is until September 2020, the number of electric vehicles in Indonesia has only reached 2,279 units. And regarding this, Hyundai explained the key factors to encourage the growth of electric cars in Indonesia. One of the main factors is to reduce the selling price of these environmentally friendly vehicles. In addition, there is a need to change public perception where these efforts can be carried out by intensifying socialization about the benefits of using EV. Namely, the cost of using electricity is cheaper than the cost of using fuel. Despite having bright projections and prospects, the development of electric vehicles in Indonesia requires a number of supporting factors. What are those factors? Let's check it out on the next graphic. The first one is, of course, zero emission policy from the central government. And then the second one is significant fiscal and financial incentives, support in the provision of infrastructure and the use of electrical energy for public transportation. The penetration of electric cars in Indonesia is still hampered by high prices. This factor causes sales not as much as internal combustion engine cars. Chairman of Gaikindo Yohanes Nengoy said that the expensive price of electric cars is a challenge in developing environmentally friendly vehicles. He added that the best-selling cars in Indonesia are in the price range of 250 up to 300 million rupiah. I wonder if cheap cars like LCGC or low MPV have a larger portion than other segments. In addition, to ensure that the price of electric vehicles is affordable, the development to be accompanied by the development of domestic industries. In addition, it is also important to prepare charging infrastructure to support the development of this type of environmentally friendly vehicle. And hopefully, all stakeholders can make optimal efforts in developing the electric vehicle industry and ecosystem in Indonesia and be able to be the answer to the need of environmentally friendly vehicles. Stay tuned on Market Line Speakers. We'll be right back after the break.
Kini aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, risk charge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi. Dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
Pelemahan yang terjadi di sepanjang perdagangan hari ini.
Welcome back. We're on the last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. Earlier today, JCI was opened at the level of 6,057.54. And approaching the closing time out of the session, the index was on the level of 6,107.79. Then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,137.55. In short, JCI went up 1.78%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got technology as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 3.54%. Energy went up 3.16%. Industry went up 2.68%. And health weakening trend, or lead the weakening trend that went down 0.47%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. The ABP went up 2.98% to the level of 346 per share. BBCA went up 2.41% to the level of 30,775 per share. Bank BRI went up 2.09% to the level of 3,900 per share. BBNI went up 5.1% to the level of 5,150 rupiah per share. Meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got Agro went down 0.9% to the level of 2,200 rupiah per share. BGTG went down 6.6% to the level of 184 rupiah per share. BBHI went down 4.66% to the level of 2,660 rupiah per share. And DMMX went down 1.89% to the level of 2,590 rupiah per share. And we are going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Opened at the level of 14,554, rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,479. In summary, rupiah went up 0.45%. Bank Negara Indonesia plans to buy back the company's shares with a maximum amount of 1.7 trillion rupiah. The buyback will be carried out in stages over a 3-month period from July to October 2021.
Bank Negara Indonesia plans to buy back the company's shares with a maximum amount of 1.7 trillion rupiah. Based on information disclosure, the implementation of the buyback will follow the provisions of the Financial Services Authority Circular Letter, namely the number of shares to be repurchased is no more than 20% of the paid-up capital, provided that the outstanding shares are at least 7.5%. To smooth out the share buyback plan, the company will prepare a maximum of 1.7 trillion rupiah from the company's internal cash, but this doesn't include the cost of buying shares, brokerage commissions, and other costs related to the buyback. The buyback will be carried out in stages over a 3-month period starting from July 22 to October 21, 2021. Meantime, assuming that BNI uses funds from internal cash, the company's assets and equity will also decrease by 1.7 trillion rupiah. This condition is considered to have no material impact, so the income statement will still be in line with BNI's target. IDX Channel reports.
And step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes big role in current economic situation. And here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. And as the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, keep protecting your family by following the health protocols, wearing face masks, keep your distance and stay away from crowds, and wash your hands through running water. And also continue to support the vaccination program to accelerate the creation of herd immunity. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.